I'm back on live again. I am back on live again. I normally don't do 2 lives in 1 week, but you all, I had to have something to say about this, y'all. What is this? Okay. Whew. Here's the deal. This whole NFL draft, specifically with Shedeur Sanders, is a case study. This draft with Shedeur Sanders is a case study on navigating the world, on human behavior, on the interpersonal relationships, on racism, on how we land with others. It is a full. Somebody needs to do a course on the Shaduer Sanders dynamic. I have so many thoughts about it, but I am not sharing those thoughts publicly, not because I'm scared of y'all, but I'm not sharing those thoughts publicly because I don't think that people are ready for the full breadth of the conversation. I think feelings are very intense. There are a lot of emotions swirling around it, and I don't know that we as a collective are ready for the nuanced conversation around the Shaduer Sanders situation. Listen, you don't even have to be entrenched in sports, because I'm not. As much as I want to say I'm a sports chick, y'all, I'm talking about gymnastics, okay, and cheerleading. So I'm not entrenched in it, but I know enough about it, and regardless, I am steeped in human behavior. And there are so many lessons with the Shaduer Sanders dynamic, so many lessons, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to address the apology that, I think his name is Jax. This is his name, Jax. I want to address the apology that I just saw that he submitted or that he gave to Shaduer Sanders. I want to address that. Now, it is very rare, you all, that you will see me doing any public commentary on other people. I might do it on general things, but not on other people, because I think that that's tricky. A lot of times I don't know who is connected to a client or who I might support in the future. So it's very rare that you're going to see me doing this. But I think this is such a beautiful opportunity for us all to learn, because I want you to understand the dynamics of this apology, and I want you to relate it back to you. The work I do is to help us all elevate not just what we do, but who we are. And we often learn from real life situations. And so, is his name Jax? Jax is a 21-year-old man, because he is a man, let's be clear, but he's a kid to me. 21. He could be my child. And so I don't want you all to focus so much on him. Again, the whole Shaduer Sanders, y'all, it's a whole lesson. There are so many lessons in this. So many lessons. I wish I had the time to go into it. Y'all, I'm over here trying to deal with the viral marriage podcast. That's what I'm going to speak to more specifically than this situation. But just know, it's a full breath. But I want to read the apology to you, and I want to bring it back to you, okay? So let me read the apology. Now, this is not a real apology. Let's just use it as still an example, but I think this is the apology that Jax, I hope I'm saying his name right, shared publicly. He says, "Hello, everyone." Now, this is after I believe he has given an apology. Somewhere else I saw an apology he gave directly to Shaduer, but this is to the public. "Hello, everyone. I would like to apologize on my behalf of the prank call that was to Shedeur Sanders on draft day. I realize that this is nothing to joke about, and it was simply just a mistake of me being dumb. To the Sanders family, I'm asking for forgiveness. Everyone makes mistakes, and this just happened to be mine. So sorry." Now, again, I believe he gave a separate or an additional apology to Shaduer. So this is just maybe a part 2. I want to make sure that's clear. But I want to unpack this apology, because this apology sounds like a 21-year-old. But unfortunately, many of us as grown adults, way growner, is growner a word? Can somebody DM me and tell me if growner is a word? Those of us who are way older than 21 apologize like this. I want to tell you where this is falling short so that you can understand why your apologies might fall short or why an apology made to you might fall short. Remember, we're elevating not just what we do, but who we are. You're not on this earth just with you. You're not on this earth just with your best friend, although you might want to make it that way. You're not on this earth just with your spouse. You're on this earth with other people. And so when we're talking about elevating not just what you do, but who you are, this impacts your relationships. That's why I said the Shaduer Sanders dynamic is way deeper than just racism. It's way deeper than just confidence. It's so much to it because we interact with other people. One of the things I tell my daughters all the time is you're leaving an impact. Baby, you're leaving an impact. You better decide what impact you want to leave, but let me get off of that. Okay. Where does this apology fall short? He says, watch this. I realize that this is nothing to joke about. I would have loved for him. Now, again, this is not about him. I understand the privilege he has, y'all. I understand the breach of confidentiality that he did. I understand all of that. I am wanting us to unpack the apology. Not about him, not about Shedeur, but about you and about me and about how we engage with one another. I want you to consider the last time you apologized or the last time an apology was given to you. And I want to use this as a case study. Okay. He says, I realize that this is nothing to joke about. What I would have loved is for him to name the this. Because what is this? I realize that this is nothing to joke about. One of the ways you make an apology land and you make an apology feel sincere is to name the this. I want to apologize that calling you on draft day, playing with your emotions, creating an environment where you feel or you felt like you were getting an opportunity. I would have wanted him to name the this. I realized that this is nothing to joke about. But this is the part he goes on to say. This is it, y'all. This is where the apology falls short. Hear me. He says, my client is going to be like, Robin, you need to be on this Zoom. I just got a few more minutes before my next appointment. He says, it was simply just a mistake. When you are making an apology, when you're taking responsibility, when you're taking, owning your accountability or where you were wrong, it is not your place to minimize the impact on someone else. So when you say it was simply just a mistake, that right there diminishes the impact on the other person. That right there takes you off the hook and can land with that person like, what's wrong with you? It was simply just a mistake. These were high stakes for Shedeur. The world was looking at Shedeur, and you made a mockery of this man in front of all of his people, just to say the least. And so when you say it was simply just a mistake, it minimizes the impact. Now remember, we're not talking about this 21-year-old boy, this 21-year-old man, because I don't like how the media is making him seem like he's a kid. This 21-year-old man, we're not talking about him. We're talking about you. We're talking about me. We're talking about how we show up in life. I understand, y'all. Can I put myself out there? I don't like to apologize. I don't do good at it at all. This is why I can speak to it. I don't like to apologize. I don't like to do any of that. So I'm telling you, I understand why he's doing that. He feels immense. I don't know what that man feels. I know I often can feel guilt. And I want to decrease the guilt I'm feeling. So decreasing the guilt means minimizing it. It was simply just a mistake. That is dangerous, particularly when you are in a relationship with someone. Because I'm going to tell you why apologies have fallen short. Somebody has apologized to you, and in just a minute, I'm going to tell you why it fell short. But let's keep unpacking this. Y'all, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that I am landing in a way that I want to. Okay. So I realized that it is nothing to joke about, and it was simply just a mistake of me being dumb. You are minimizing the impact on this man. Okay, then he goes on to say, To the Sanders family, I'm asking for forgiveness. That too can be problematic because you're almost putting people in a, let me reframe it. So you got to reframe in the moment. It can create an environment, create an experience where somebody is put on the spot. Okay. And so, but I'm going to let that part go because I want to get to this part. He says, everyone makes mistakes. And this just happened to be mine. Once again, you are trying to include you with everybody else so that you're not isolated and put on the spot for what you did. Y'all, he's 21. I'm 50 and I found myself doing that. He's 21. I'm sure you've done it at 40. You've done it at 35 and you're not even realizing it in the moment. Everyone makes mistakes and this just happens to be mine because what you're wanting to do is you don't want to be isolated. You don't want the spotlight on you. You don't want the responsibility solely on you. You don't want the pressure solely on you. And so when you say it was simply just a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. In other words, why are you tripping? Why are you tripping about what I did? You've made a mistake too, but we're not talking about everybody else. We're talking about you. You in this moment. Can I tell you one of my pet peeves that people say? It's my pet peeve. People get up and they say, nobody's perfect. When I hear that statement, it's like chalk on a like nails on a chalkboard, because we know everyone's not perfect. We're talking about progression. I hear that a lot in marriage counseling. Somebody will say, well, nobody's perfect. We get that. We're not looking for perfection, but we're looking for growth. We're looking for progression. We're looking for change. And so when you say everyone makes mistakes, what you are doing is, again, minimizing the severity of what you did. And watch this. You don't get to dictate to somebody else how what you did landed with them. I'll tell you again. You don't get to dictate to somebody else how what you did landed with them. Now watch this. Oh, my client's going to kill me. Watch this. Just because it triggers you doesn't mean it'll trigger somebody else. We're off of him for a moment. We're on you. Just because it triggers you doesn't mean it would trigger someone else. One of the things I find is that we make triggers global. And so we think people are intentionally doing it. So just because you're triggered by something, the next person may not be triggered by it. So it's not even that this is not with him, but it may not even be their intention. But if it lands with them or lands with you a certain way, people need to acknowledge it. And so when he says everyone makes mistakes and this just happens to be mine, he's falling into that 21-year-old. I mean, I don't know why everybody is tripping. You want to make sure that when you are apologizing, you carry the weight of what you did. Give them an opportunity to share with you the weight of what you did, the impact of what you did. Okay. Let me tell y'all this. And then we're going to go. There is a reason that when somebody has apologized to you or when you've apologized to somebody else, it doesn't seem to land. I wish I had something in here to demonstrate with y'all as a visual, but let me tell you why. I did not come up with this, but it transformed me deeply. There is a book that I talk about all the time called Soul Care. It'll change your life. The author's name is Rob Reimer. The name of the book is Soul Care. And when he talked about forgiveness and reconciliation. So y'all understand that you can forgive, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be reconciliation. Let me say it again. You can forgive. That does not necessarily mean there's going to be reconciliation. You got to be discerning enough to determine if reconciliation is possible. Now, there's a reason there's a biblical mandate for forgiveness. I could get into that. I don't have time for that. But the forgiveness is mandated by God, because when you don't forgive, you're yoked to that person that you haven't forgiven. And so you're wondering why you're still being pulled back and forth because you haven't forgiven. You're yoked to that person. Forgiveness breaks the yoke, but that's another conversation. There's a reason why when you have apologized or somebody has apologized to you, it doesn't land. Watch this. This is what I learned in Soul Care. It was mind blowing. He said, imagine that there is a 20-gallon offense. There's a 20-gallon offense. Just think about 20 gallons. Y'all know I'm a visual person. I gotta have a visual. So imagine this is 20 gallons, a 20-gallon offense, and the person comes and apologizes, but their apology is about 10 gallons. The offense was 20 gallons. The apology was 10 gallons because the apology is, it was simply just a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes, and this just happened to be mine. That doesn't sound like ownership. That doesn't sound like you really understand the impact. And so I have a 20-ounce offense, and you're giving me a 10-ounce apology. I am left to deal with that other 10 ounces. And you want us to be in relationship, but I don't feel safe because I'm not sure you fully understand the impact of what you did. That is why somebody has apologized to you and you can't quite seem to make your way back because it feels like you aren't really understanding the impact of what you did. Now, I got to say this and then I got to go. Y'all, please tell my client, please tell her to have patience. Here I come, sis. Listen, she's not on here. I don't want y'all to think she's really here. Okay, here's the thing though. There's so much lesson, so many lessons in this. You got to do your own work. Because see, some of us have some holes that need to be filled. We have some wounds that need to be tended to. So it don't matter how much people pour, how much they ask for forgiveness, how much they apologize. They could be giving you a 20-ounce apology, but because you have these wounds, you have these holes that haven't been patched up in your heart, you have these places in you that haven't been dealt with, there is no filling your gallon because you're dripping at all times. That's why you got to do your work. That's why you got to do your work. That's why you got to elevate, not just what you do, but who you are. Because if you haven't dealt with your wounds, it don't matter how they apologize. You're going to still be offended. It don't matter what they say. You're going to still be offended. It's going to always be somebody else. It's going to always be their issue. You got to deal with your stuff. If you want to heal, you got your own stuff to do. It's some people that you're causing to be responsible for what somebody did 15 years ago. They didn't do it, but they're paying the price for it. And you are desperately wanting them to do more. They're doing all they can because you got some wounds. But if you've done your work, if you've recognized your stuff, and it's not doing your work, period, it's working. You're constantly doing your work. If you are on the journey, if you are elevating not just what you do, but who you are, you will then understand why this apology hasn't landed. So, as I said, there are so many dynamics to the Shedeur Sanders. It's so many dynamics. It is not black and white. It is extremely nuanced. And many times as people, we see things either this or that. This situation is not just this or that. The Shedeur situation is so multi-layered. It is so much multi-layered. I'm not getting into that. I just wanted to talk about this apology because I wanted y'all to understand he's 21. He is 21. But if you are 40, if you are 50, you got to understand, am I apologizing like that? Is somebody apologizing to me like that? No wonder we can't quite restore the relationship. No wonder we keep missing each other because this apology is falling short to the severity of the offense. If this helped you, will you share it with some folks? Can you comment? Can you tell people, come look at this? Because it helps move it up the algorithm. I know I was just live yesterday, but I couldn't miss this opportunity. I love y'all.